Catching a jitney is a convenience that most Bahamians have easy access to.
However, as Jared Higgs tells us tonight, for a particular group of Bahamians, mainly the disabled and some elderly, this feat can prove to be quite a challenge.
Samuel Strawn is blind, and like many other members of the disabled community, he is fed up with some bus drivers.
Most of the bus, some will stop and some will, they doesn't pass by. They will not stop because they see me with a keen stick in my hand.
Like many others, he complains of many bus drivers who do not stop for people with disabilities because they require more time or assistance boarding the bus. Bus driver Darren Monroe admits that sometimes that's the reason some drivers don't want to stop.
I did it once. My heart burned, but they really need the government need to get a bus mainly for transport the wheelchairs. That's the concern.
Kalisha Roll is a member of the National Council for the Disabled and a student at the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute. She has been in a wheelchair for most of her life, and while she recognizes the challenging circumstances facing bus drivers, it doesn't make things any easier for her.
When I was living in South Beach, I had to wait until 12 buses passed me before one could stop. And that wasn't a very easy situation. But they're now coming to grips with themselves now, saying that, they do have a person in the wheelchair who's willing to catch their bus.
Access to public transportation is of vital importance, especially as people go about their day-to-day activities. And the introduction of a disabilities legislation could help to resolve this issue. Minister of Transport and Aviation, the Honourable Glenys Hanna-Martin, says a dynamic process is underway to improve the situation, including advancing disabilities legislation that is being spearheaded by the Honourable Melanie Griffin.
That law is going to mandate certain things in a number of areas, including buildings and public transport and parking. The second issue is the buses. The buses in reality are not physically, they're coaster buses. They've been using them for generations. They're not designed to, infrastructurally, to accommodate many people who have disabilities. And so that is a challenge that as we go into a unified bus system, and as we look at the transportation system generally, we will have to ensure that people with disabilities are able to have mobility like everybody else to get from point A to point B.
And if the legislation comes into force, members of the disabled community like Kalisha Roll will have a much easier time doing something as simple as catching the bus.
I'm really waiting desperately for this legislation. Hope to God it pass. Jesus.
Jared Higgs, ZNS Network News.